What's up, folks? Today I'm going to be reviewing the game Nanga Parbat. Now in this game is going to be set on a mountain. The mountain's going to have a whole bunch of animals on there. And what you're going to be doing is you're going to be hiking up these mountains and trading in these animals for the hikers and trying to score points by making camps and trading in animals as well. So let's take a look at it. Okay, everybody, here we go. You've got a couple of boards here. This is going to be your player board, and you're going to be placing animals on this board, and I'll talk about how these work here in a little bit. And on the main board, you've got what simulates a mountain over here, and you've got all these different animals in 6 different sections of the mountain. Right over here is the guide, and you're going to be moving the guide around in the mountains, and what you're going to be doing is you're going to be taking animals and putting them over here, and then replacing them with one of your hikers like this. And there's 2 of them. There's a blue one, and then there is a pink one. Now, ultimately, one of the things you're going to be trying to do is you're going to be trying to build tents over here, and you're going to be doing that if you're able to get the tents adjacent to each other. So if you ended up grabbing this animal, and this animal, and then putting hikers in there, you would be able to replace those hikers with tents and then count the points for that with the tent. So that's basically the gist of the game. Now, the animals that are going to be in the game are as follows. There's a snow leopard, I think it's called the tar, the musk deer, the yak, the barrel, and then the red panda. Now, each of them are also going to have special abilities, and I'll talk about how these work here in just a little bit. And then you've got scoring cubes over here, and each person is going to have a certain amount of cubes that they're going to be able to place over here on this scoring thing to score points. So the way it's going to work is you're going to start on number 4, the guide is, and then you're going to go ahead and take an animal. So let's just say I decided I was going to go ahead and take this white one over here, and I'll place it here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a hiker into the number 2. Now, since 2 was the number that I picked, the guy is now going to move over here for the next player. Now, here's where the special abilities come in. If you want to use an animal special ability, you can use it anytime during your turn, and you can use as many of them as you want to, provided that it's not the same one. So you would just simply move it down like this. Now, what this is going to do is this is going to switch 2 characters that are adjacent to each other. So if I happen to have another hiker over here, for example, I would be able to go ahead and switch the 2 like so. Now, this one will go ahead and switch a meeple and then an animal. So if I wanted to, I could do something like this. This one's going to switch 2 animals around, so I could do something like this. This one's going to move the guide to any location that you want to. So my turn somewhere, I could move the guide over there. This one is a wild, and what you can do is you can substitute this for any one of the animals. And the reason you might want to do that is because you can score points for turning in animals, and then by turning them in, depending on how many you turn in, you'll get points. So you can turn in a certain number of the same animals, at least 3 and up, or different animals, at least 3 different animals and up. So let's just say player 2 goes, he's over here. Let's just say he decides he's going to pick this one. He'll put his pink hiker over there, and then this guy is going to go ahead and move to number 1. Now, if you get to a situation where you end up having, say, at least 3 hikers, and you can have more if you want to try to go for it, you can go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and make tents in place of these hikers. So what you'll do is you'll take the hikers off like so, and then you're going to go ahead and replace them with tents. And then after you replace it with tents, you're going to go ahead and place one of your cubes on the section. Since I made 3 tents, that's going to be 3. So since there's 2 sections of 3s, I'm going to go ahead and take the one that's worth the most amount of points, and this is going to allow me to move 4. Now, the red animal over here, the way this works is if you are in last when you take this animal, you're going to gain a point. So if player 2 decided at some point, let's just say the guy was over here, he ended up taking this and placed it over there, he could go ahead and put his meeple on there and then score himself a point since he is in last place, like so. Now, when it comes to trading animals, let's just say I had something like this where I had an animal here and I had another animal here. What I could do is I could trade the same. So let's just say I decided to just take these animals off and trade them in. What that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to say, okay, well, these are all the same animal, so I will go ahead and score 6 points for that, and I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The other thing you can do is if you happen to have different animals, let's say I happen to have this, I could go ahead and trade these in and then score for the different animals, which is going to be over here. I traded in 3, so I'm going to go ahead and get 5 points for that. So then I would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's mainly the ways that you're going to be scoring in this game. So the order is you're going to basically trap an animal, which means you'll take it. You'll go ahead and place a hiker there. So the game's going to end once both the players have placed all of their hikers or all of their scoring cubes. And then simply you're going to look at the path where you're at, and whoever is the furthest is going to win. And that, folks, is... So my final thoughts on Nanga Parbat. Well, first of all, I hope I pronounced the word right. But as far as the game goes, this is a game you actually have to try a couple of times to kind of get the mechanics. When you look at it at first, it's like, okay, well, what am I really doing with these animals? What's the purpose of having to actually move them around? But once you start actually moving them around, you're starting to kind of see, okay, you're trying to basically get the hikers separated, and then the animals have special abilities, and then of course you can trade in for animals as well. So once you kind of start to play it, you get the gist of it, and as you get the gist of it, you start to see, okay, so this is the strategy I'm trying to employ here. So this is kind of a light game. It's very easy to learn. And, you know, it's kind of like a micro game because it's got little meeples, and the animal meeples are pretty cool too. So once you understand the game and play it, I think it's a fairly enjoyable game. I mean, ultimately what you're trying to do is you're just trying to score points, and you're trying to prevent your opponent from scoring points. So it's a neat little game. Now, who would I recommend this for? Well, I would recommend this for people who are into light strategy games, games that are not hard to learn. It's definitely different. I don't have a game that plays like this, that's for sure. But I would recommend it. That's my review, you guys. We'll see you later. Keep on gaming.